welcome to this episode. So in this episode, we're just going to add authentication to our system. Okay, so I just want to tell you that in the previous days, I also got a new machine. So this is going to be the first episode using the new machine. So I want you guys to comment in the comment section about the audio and the video. If they are good, you thumbs up, and if there is any problem, you let me know. Recording these videos has never been easy. Sometimes after recording like 2 hours, you find that the audio is not good enough, or they are not syncing very well. So I just want your help, and you let me know. And thanks to those ones who always inform me if there is something with the video or audio, and then I work on those ones. And another announcement is that every Fridays we're just going to be having some session about 3 hours, and I'm just going to be sacrificing that time to really talk to you guys. And this is due to people having challenges with some of the content I create, like they have issues. Really, when you're just developing actual applications, you always actually fall into so many problems. But I'm just going to try my level best during that time so that we can solve people's problems and also receive new ideas. And the fact is, the time is very tricky on my side, but I always try to be there. Most times when you send me messages in WhatsApp, you are not the only one. There are so many people who send me messages and they need help, and that's why I'm coming up with that time on Friday so that we actually try to solve some of these problems. I don't know if it is going to be live on YouTube or if it is going to be using Google Meet. I haven't decided yet, but we shall see by that time. After I think the first meeting, we shall see or discuss if we should use it on YouTube Live. So in today's episode, we're just going to focus on adding authentication to our system. And in the authentication, we're just going to use Prisma for handling all our queries. And we are going to use MongoDB for database and Next.js for authentication. This is just like a common routine that we have always been using. Feel free to try other things, like you can try Kindle. There's so many other authentication, but I find Next.auth free, and we can still use Next.auth, has no problem. And so I just made some documentation you can follow up with the authentication. So if you just go to this, I'll just of course leave this link in the video description of authentication and authorization. So we're just going to use Prisma as we said, and we can start by actually installing Prisma client. Okay. You can start by installing Prisma client, or we can start by actually working on the UI for creating the login and register. I think that is the easy one. We can start by creating the UI. We simply just add some more pages. You can see there is a login button here. We can simply add in another stuff here, and we could just go ahead and add sign up onto this one, or we can just come and we let a person only click on login. Let's just like put login, then from login you can just go to sign up. So basically what you just do under the front pages group, just going to go inside where we have, for instance, right now we have doctors. We can just go ahead and create a new folder inside, and this one is going to be we can just call it register, and just like that. And inside the register we can add the page.tsx and rfc. Okay, I'm just going to say H2, and this one is going to be just for now register page. Okay, and then just going to do similarly in the front, create another folder, call it login, and inside this let's put page .tsx. Okay, RFC, and just going to go ahead and add H2, and you can just say login, and then we can just go ahead and connect this page to the navbar. Just look for the components, and let's go to front end navbar, and we can trace where we have the login page. So here we can just go ahead and put slash login, and make sure this is a link from next link, and this is not the only one. I think we have 2 logins. Okay, so I'm just also going to have this turn it into a link, and then here just going to put slash login, just like that. Okay, so now when we come to this one, just going to refresh, just going to refresh. Okay, and yes, now we have login, so you can just route to the login. Okay, so you can see now we are onto the login page. Okay, so now I wanted just to make maybe the page look like something like this. We just go ahead and put like an image or something, and then you hide it on the other screen. So we could just like design a simple page like that. So I'm just going to go to start with the login. So we can just go ahead and say class name. So start with giving, for instance, the BG to BG blue, maybe 100. Okay, and then we're just going to have a grid dot grid cores 2, and then of course this is going to be on MD, but then we're just also going to have grid cores 1. Okay, so just going to have 2 columns. So the first one is just going to have this image. So you could just go ahead and we add some image or some background, sort of background. So now we have the background, and then the actual form is going to be on the second one, this one. Okay, so I want to add also some other things to this. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is I'm just also going to open here Flowbyte. And by the way, if you never hosted their site, please push before you move on, push your code so that you always have the updated version. So I'm just going to go to Flowbyte, not Flowbyte React. I just need Flowbyte. Flowbyte. This one. So I'm just going to get the card. So just simply go to search here, or you could just click on get started. I think they're the same things. just click on this. Let's search a card. And let's get the card with form inputs. Card with form inputs on the side here. Card with form inputs. Okay. So what I just want is this shadow. So I'm just going to copy this first class here, this one, Control C, and I'm just going to go and add it to this grid. And this one on small screen will have hidden this one. Okay. And then maybe we say LG block, maybe MD. We could just say MD flex, whatever. Okay. And then this one is going to be the form here. This is the form. I'm just going to simply say Control/. This is going to be the form. And then this one is going to be where we have the image. Okay. I don't know if it is really necessary. You could just like leave it. So let me just go to our app so you can see now we have this. First of all, I'm just going to give this a min height of screen, min height screen. Okay, I have a min height of screen and let's see. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the center. So this, we're just going to give it more stuff about maybe 5 Excel, and let's also give it MX Auto. Okay. This one will move it to the center. Yeah. We can also go ahead and give it. We can just go ahead and give it. What can we give it? We can just go ahead and we can just go ahead and give it some padding. So this one, I'm just going to give it padding Y of 8. Okay, yeah, just like that. So this has two grids so far. So in the first one, I just want to use this Tailwind here. You can just go ahead and use, I've used it almost every video. I've been using this form of Frobite. It is a nice form. Really, you can just like use this one. I just want to use some other one to then I see how the UI looks like. So you can just go to, this is Tailwind UI components, and just find UI and then see the sign in and registration. I'm just going to use this one this time. Okay. So just select React here, and the first thing is that you have to use the Tailwind CSS forms plugin. We have always been using that. So just say add Tailwind forms, something like that. So this first link. So just go ahead and install npm install Tailwind forms. You can just simply copy this and let's add that. So I'm just going to scroll up here and Just add like that, Tailwind forms. Okay. So while it is installing, one thing we have to add this plugin in our config. So just copy this. Okay, and just go to the config, Tailwind config, Tailwind config. I even have Tailwind config copy. That the one we created during, I think, installation of Shard. Okay, so here on the plugin, okay, we already have the Tailwind forms installed. I didn't know that. I forgot that we installed it while we were putting this, I think, the search functionality. So that's great. So just go ahead and now go back to this. Now you could just go and just get this export default function. You could just copy everything actually, and we're just going to remove some. Just copy, and let's go ahead and create a component. So inside components, I'm just going to create a new folder. I'm just going to put auth, and I'm just going to say login form .tsx, and let's paste this. So the first thing you're just going to do is you can go ahead and remove these comments, just like so. And this one just going to make it login form, just the way we just made this one. And you can also just remove this. This requires updating your template, blah blah. We're just going to handle this on our own. So this flex mean what? Let's just go ahead and have this here like this. Okay, so let's just try to connect this to copy this login form to the login here. So while we have the form, let's just go ahead and put this component, the login form component. Okay, just like that. So let's go and see now. Okay, so we have the form here on this side. So we just need to add the something on this side also. So there, what we could do, we could just find a nice image. Let me just go and maybe we could just go to free pick, and let's just say smiling doctors. Okay, we could just like do, so just use like this one. Looks great. Okay, so you could just like go ahead and just download this free. Now make sure if you download these kind of images, first of all, you can see this one is 3.45 MBs. Please make sure to reduce this one. So what you can just do, open with Paint, and we can first bring this one down. So I'm just going to simply go to here, and let's go and resize. pixels, and make sure, for instance, the width is about maybe 1000. As simple as that. Okay, great. And save this. I'm just going to call this medical BG, something like that. I just want to rename this BG. And let me just cut this. I'm just going to take it to the public. Okay, just like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to add it here. So just can just add this as linear BG. Okay, just copy this and let me just go to CSS. And I could just go somewhere down and add this class, the linear BG, and you could just say background linear gradient to right. Now we could just go ahead and do, for instance, dark blue to maybe sky blue. I don't know. And then put comma URL, and then just simply put slash. The image was called BG. It was called bg.jpg or something. bg.jpg. So .jpg. Just like that. Of course, we can just see background size, cover, and you can just give like background, repeat, repeat. I don't think this one is necessary. And background position, you could just say center, center, center. As simple as that. Now we have to reduce this. I normally just leave that, and you could just put sky blue, and let's put here transparent. The last one, transparent. Okay, let's first look at this, how this one looks like. Okay. Let's first see without, and this is also going to make it background. And let me first see without the linear gradient. How does it look like? So there is this padding. I don't think we need padding. Login. So you can just come here. Let's first take off this. In this, it is this P4. There is this P6, P8. Let's see. Yeah, I just need it to be like that. And seeing like just like the image itself is more good enough without actually like, there is no need of the linear gradient. I think it is really doing well. So I'm just going to leave it like that. The only thing I'm just going to put to it is, I think, overflow. So just see overflow. Let's just see overflow hidden, just to see that. Just like here to make sure it's just going to keep rounded. Oh, I think the overflow hidden is not on this one. Overflow hidden is on the card, this one. Yeah, so you can see this rounded is now inside. So now we have just like a nice form. So this one just going to say not yet registered. Okay, so down in this form, I'm just going to go down here where it says not yet registered. Not so just say here don't have account. Don't have account. So you're just going to say, for instance, register. Okay, and remember to make this one a link. Next link, and let's put slash register. Okay, so just going to do the same thing for the other form. So this one we need email and password and sign in. Okay, and you could just go ahead and replace with the logo. I haven't gotten the logo yet. Okay, I haven't gotten the logo yet. And you could just have something like this. Okay. And if you don't want, for instance, I can show you, for instance, a trick. If you don't want like this navigation on this, specifically this, you could just do that. And you could just do that from the navigation and from this mega menu, but I think we just need, we can just leave them there. But if you are uncomfortable, for instance, you could just simply go to the navigation, for instance, the mega menu. So let's just say mega menus here. So for instance, I could just go here on this mega menu. I could just say const path name. So I could just get the path name is equal to use path name from next navigation. And then I could just say if the path name is equal to slash login, and then just say simply return null. Could just say return null. Is that? We could just like do something like that. Return null. Let's see. You can see that the it has gone off. Okay, it has gone off. Of course, like the stuff remains, but you can see itself the mega menu has gone. And I think this would you could just like do this to take off some part if you don't like them. But I was just showing you, I'm just going to leave it there. But I'm just showing that you can actually take off some parts if you don't like them. And I think that one can also be meaning, I don't know if this means also you can do this. The problem, the path name is a client side. So I think it is not advisable to do this in the layout. Okay. I'm just showing you. But so far our nice, we have our nice login. It is really looking nice. And I'm having a second thought about this. We might just need to actually add it on the navigation on top here. Like here, just like adding, I think, unnecessary spacing. And for that matter, let me just go to just a second. What do we have in the front layout? I'm just going to first put off the mega menu for a second. I'll put off this mega menu. Or am I just going to incorporate it in the nav bar at some point? Like it looks like too much. Yeah. So I think yeah, just like more clean. I don't know where is this white space coming from. Oh, I think in the layout, did you put like margin top? Just remove that. Okay. Of course, we can just go ahead and oh, I think the margin top, since the header is also fixed, can we reduce this to 100? Okay, let's just make it 80. Okay, so that's much better. So like some are more clean, I guess. Okay, so just going to log in. We have the login. Let's do the same on the sign up or the register. So I'm just going to go copy this. Let's go ahead and create the register page. Auth, login. I'm just going to say Control C, Control V. So just rename this to register form. Register form.tsx. Okay, register form. So even here, let's just rename this to register form. Okay, and this one you can now just say create new account. Okay, just like that. And just going to add some other inputs. So this one has email and password. So just going to add one more, which is going to be the name. Just like that. So I'm just going to add here the name, email address, and then name. This is going to be now full name. And we could just like put like first name and last name. Yeah, most people just like need just like we could just like get first name and last name. First name. I'm just going to say F name. And this one is going to be the first name. And Could just also go ahead and put last name. So we have first name. Just go ahead and create the last name. Last name. Last name. Okay. Let's go ahead and create, go to this register page. So I'll just copy the exact same thing we have on this login page. Simply copy everything and paste it in here. Change this into register form. Okay, and let's see the register form. So register form has more fields. It has first name, last name, email, and password. Okay, great. And it looks really great. So just here, just going to change that on the register form. So down here, just going to say already have account. Already have account. Just login, and then here we just say login. Okay, and then of course this one is going to be also sign up, the button sign up. Okay, so you can just see this, this looks great. First name, last name, and this, and on the small screen, this one should go for the image and will remain only this. You can see the card remains one, and this looks really great on all screens. Okay. Okay, that's great. So now, next is of course implementing the logic. Okay, is implementing the logic, but what I just wanted to do is to use this opportunity to first add, of course, the client validation and all those small things that we could just go ahead and add. Okay, so the first thing to add client validation, we're just going to use React hook forms. Okay, so you can just say npm install React hook form. Is it React hook forms? You could just go ahead and say React hook form. I think this is React hook form. Get started, and this is React hook form. Okay, just install. Okay, so they tell you here with TypeScript. Okay, the fact that we're using TypeScript. So for instance, you have your inputs, the type of inputs, and you use this one. So you can see you simply pass in here this, and even in the on submit, you pass in this, which will annotate the data. Okay, and everything else will be okay. Okay, let's start with the sign up, is what you're just going to work on, of course, first. So I'm just going to reduce this to bottom so that you get this clearly. I don't know if my screen has like the text is so big. I'm not sure. Or it is the right amount. You can't tell me if the text is so big. I can just simply like reduce a little bit, maybe to that level. I'm not sure if that is much better. Okay, so now the first thing I'm just going to do is we have installed the React hook form is getting the data to here. Okay, so the first thing is const, okay, const, we just get some things, for instance, the register handle submit, and reset. And you could just say also form state, and then from the form state we can just get the errors, and this is equal to use form hook from react hook form, and just going to make this one a client component, putting use client. Okay, so register, handle submit, and reset. And you might just wondering like that some of the auto completion is not actually compiled. Is this tab 9? You can just go and install tab 9 if you want. Sometimes it is annoying, so but you can just try it. So this is the first thing here, bringing this. Now we could just define the type. Okay, in the types we might just like actually uh, we could just go here in the types and define some types. Export type, I could just say maybe register props. Okay, and we could just have, we have the first name, which is a string, and we're just going to last name, email, password. We don't have confirm password. I think these are the first, last, email, and password. I think this is the ones we have. The register props. I think there are 4 inputs. Let's go and see 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 inputs, just like this. So after you have this, we can just go and now use this register input props. Register inputs. Just the inputs. Just the input props. So just get this to the register. So the first thing to do is you can pass this here, just like this. Sorry, just here, just like that. Okay, just get this from types. Okay, and just say type. Just say type. Okay, so this is the first thing. When you pass in this becomes really nice. Just like that. So we can just have the function is going to be async function. This takes in data, and now you can just say register props, and you could just go ahead and console.log data. Okay. Okay. So now function, and let's give this function on. We could just say maybe handle submit. Oh, we already have handle submit. Yes, go ahead on submit as usual. On submit. Okay. So we just have to have a form somewhere, which is this one. And we're going to use server actions. So just going to have here on submit. We just say handle submit, and then we pass in the on submit. Now would have used Zod if you wanted, but I don't think it is really necessary. Just come and do this handle submit. So we could just go ahead and then register these inputs. So here you could just say wherever I have first name, Control A, Control H. I'm just going to say first name, first name. Okay. So even here on this input, I'm just going to go and register. I'm going to pass in register this first name, comma, and I'm just going to say required to. Okay. As simple as this. Now I'm just going to do this for all of them. This arrow name, Control F, Control H. Let's just see last name. And let's just go ahead and register this as last name. Okay. And then finally we have email. Just going to go in the input. On the input here, register. This is going to be email required true. Did I change here? Yeah. And then finally password. Finally password. So here I'm just going to say password. What is the password? Input password. So just I'm just going to say password and required true. So now just putting only that cannot allow to register now just the form like this. You can now at least see, and you could just go ahead by the way and remove this HTML validation. So this required from there, required, just to check. Just like that. Okay. So right now you don't have the required attribute. So if you just click this, you see they highlight this that you have to enter something there. So you could just like display the error message there, and the error message is very easy. Just below the input, we can just do something like this. So I'm just going to go below the first name. So under this input, I'm just going to say this one is going to be error dot. So if you just say right now, for instance, first name, and you could just go ahead and say first name is required. Or you could just leave this is required. Let's give this some styles. Class name, and you could just go and say text red, maybe 600 text SM. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and see this. Where is our form? Yep, so you can see now this field is required. Okay, yeah, so and if you wanted to show some other things, you could just like use the same technique. This field is required, but in this case, we could just say actually first name is required. So first name is required. Okay. So what I'm just thinking right now is creating a reusable field for this. Okay. Because you can imagine we're just going to use all the forms all the time. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and create here inside the components. I'm just going to say form inputs, and let's just say text input dot tsx rfc. Okay, so I'm just going to return this input for the first name. So if you just look at this, it has a label simply just in a div, just like this. Control C, and just go here, and on this return, I'm just going to return this. Okay, so the only thing I just want is to make this one work. The first thing you see, it takes in a label. So I'm just going to say text input props. I could just come here and say type text input props is equal to, so just be adding one by one. For instance, label, I'm just going to add label, which is going to be a string. So I'm just going to get this, and just going to have not title, label. Okay, and just do this. How am I supposed to do that? Do I do this text input props? I don't know. So label, I'm just going to come and put the label here. So label, just like that. Okay, so we have the register function. I'm not sure how to annotate that, but I'm just going to say register, and it is a function. I don't know. I'm just like say it is a function which returns void. I don't know how to annotate that for sure. What happened? So we just have register. So first time is already refusing. So you can just do is just say any for now, so that it is works. Okay, so there is this here. This is going to be the name. Okay, so this is going to be the name. So you're just going to pass in name here, and also name string, and for this case, just going to use this. Mm, so if I put this. So first name dollar this, okay? And this one is going to be name. Okay, so just copy this and let's take this to all the places. Here, name. Okay, do we need to just bring it just like this? Control C, like that. Okay, ID. This one is just copy the way it is here. So this. So we can also have type. Let's first finish with this one. I think there's one place still. Errors. Instead of using dot, we're just going to use this, I guess. At that, just like this. Errors. Can't find the errors, so just going to pass in the errors. So just pass in the errors also. So errors any for now. I'm just going to pass here the errors. Okay, and then here just going to be whatever the name, the label. So this is just going to use the label here. So whatever label is required, and I think we are done. So now the one thing is type. So type is going to be by default this. Okay, so just go and say type. So type is going to be a string. And then here, let's just say type this type text is by default. And we could just say this is not required. So just put a question mark on this. It is not required even if they don't provide it. And then just simply put it here, type. Okay, so now it's about to test this. Okay, so text input. Let's go to the register and remove all this and put text input, import it, text input, and let's provide whatever it requires. It needs the following. So let's put this. It needs a label. The label is first name. The register function is already there, is equal register. The name, this is the one that will be registered. So it's a first name. Okay. The errors is equal to errors. Type is equal to type. We don't need, for this one is by default type text. So we should just have exactly the same thing now. Okay, so if I try to sign up, yeah, first name is required. So this is great. And what I'm just going to do is it saves us a lot of time. So instead of doing the same thing to this, email, so this is going to be for the last name. So simply duplicate this to last name. So you're just going to say last name, this one to last name, and email. I'm just going to do the same thing to the email. Just go here to the email. So just say here email address, and this is the name is email type. So here you can just pass in the type to be email. And finally is the password. So the password is somehow tricky because of having this. Okay. We have the label, and then it is having this. Maybe for the for the password, let's just leave it the way it is. Okay. Because if you look at the text input, it doesn't have that stuff. So I'm just going to copy the errors block, simply bring it to the register form. So for the forgot password, for the password, let's just leave it like that. So I'm just going to go below here and I add errors, and you could just pass errors of password. It works just like this, errors of password, and then here is going to be password is required, just like that. Password is required. Okay. Then for the button, we're also going to change the button. Okay. And you can see all these ones. We have these ones working properly. Okay. And let's work on this button. So we have this button here, the submit button. So I'm just going to copy it under these form inputs. I'm just going to create a submit button. Submit button .tsx RFC, and let's return this. So the first thing is we can also create submit type. So type submit button props. Props is equal to. So now if we just go here, first of all is the title. So you can just see title. So here I'm just going to bring the title. So the title is a string, and this title just goes here. Okay, title, as simple as that. Now, one thing is that this we could also just give it a type, just in case we want to use it. So we could also just say type. So type string, and by default, so just going to say type. By default, you're just going to give it type submit. And that means this is not required. And that means we can just put also type submit here. Okay. Oh, just create button type. Button type. There, just here button type. Okay. So now, most cases or most scenarios is that it is going to be having the loading. Okay, so we have to cater for the loading. So just going to add here loading, and loading is, in fact, just say is loading. So this one is going to be a boolean. Okay, is loading. So by default, let's just make this one false. And what's wrong with this? Type button strings on send up to submit or reset. Wow, so it has to be these ones. Um, so just copy that. Okay. Is this supposed to be a string? Undefined? So it has to be like that, and undefined. Yeah. So you can see now it is okay. It has to be one of these ones. Okay. So if it is loading, so we need to change some things. Okay. We can show another button first of all. So you can just come here and we can put these ones, and then we can just say if is loading is true. So if it is true, we just need to show the loading button here. Let's show this other button. Okay. So here, just add this. Okay. So here, just have to add the loading button. And what we can just do is adding an icon here. Just the same button, but with an icon. Can just say loader from also the React. So just make this one to be flex items center. It is already flex. So just give this one a class name. Width is 4, height 4, and margin right of 2. Flex link 0. So I'm just going to give it only one, which is animate spin, just like this. And this button type is for the I don't know if we just need to really pass in the button type, because what we just want here is to have type. Um, oh, you can just leave it, but it should have disabled. So this one should be disabled. Okay. That means like it cannot click or do anything. Yeah. And this one should also have its own title. So this is going to be loading title. So copy this and let's add it here. And also here. So loading title is going to be is a string. Okay. So that's it. So just have this and let's copy the submit button to the register. And now instead of this, just go ahead and put this. Okay. So pass in whatever is required. So just go ahead and say these are the required ones. So paste them here. We just need title, which is, for instance, create account. Button type, just remove this, is by default submit. Is loading, and loading title is going to be creating, please wait, just like this. And is loading, let's create a state here. Const is loading set is loading to use state. So this by default is going to be false. Okay. And just bring is loading. Here too is loading. Okay. So now when we just go back here, we still have the same exact thing. So instead of sign up, we have create account. And if you make loading true, let's see if the button changes. Let's make this one to true. Let's just see. So now you can see we have this creating, please wait, and you cannot click this. Okay, great. Let's put this back to false. False. Okay, so now if we just go ahead and console.log data, it should give us the data really. Let's go to the console and let's put in some data. Fake filler, create, and you see you have email, first name, last name, and password. Okay. And we could also ask for them their phone number. I think that would also be nice. Could add like one for the phone number, email address, and then the phone number, something like that. So let me just add one more field. And you see that now it is very easy to add a new field. Let's say we want to add the phone number after the email address. So I could just simply just duplicate this, pass in only here phone number, and then here just going to name this phone. Then type text. Now could you say type tail if you wanted. That will still work since we are passing in the types. So remember to put this phone number now in our these inputs. Just put the phone string. Okay, just like this. That will be enough. And with only that one line of code, you have the phone number. Okay, and we can also do the fake field. Sorry. just do click on this fake field and can see they are filling it with a phone number. Click create and you have all this data here. Now just going to reduce a little bit on the margin bottom, I guess. From input or text input, it has, I think, padding, I think is this margin top between the label and mm, I don't know what that is from. I just go to the form itself, register. Down here, you could just see space Y. Just reduce on the space Y, maybe to 4. Yeah, just a little bit like that. Okay, so we have this figured out. Now the next thing is to make sure that when a person signs up, of course, we save the data. So that's where the database now comes in. Okay, that's where the database comes in. We could just go ahead, do the same thing to the login, and you go ahead and get these details, which is going to be easy. I'm just going to copy one of these ones, Control C, simply go to the login form, simply go to the login form. So the login form, for it, the inputs are very few. We could actually just like, we have the one of email address actually. So we could just go ahead and bring the one for exactly email address, this. To the login. So just like this, import this, and then go to the register and let's also copy this. Control C. So on top here, I'm just also going to add these ones and make sure you get this to make it use client, use client, use client. Okay, let's import use state. And let's also import use form. Okay, so now instead of register inputs, we're just going to put the login inputs. So I'm just going to go to basically the types. Let's just duplicate this. This is going to be the login. It has email and password, just like this. Control C, just come back here. So just enter this from the types, as easy as that. So when you just come down here for the password, let's also just copy from here the password. And by the way, for the password on the other side, it doesn't have to have this forgot. Okay, on the register, let me see. Yeah, so this one didn't have to have the forgot, sorry. So that one becomes very easy. So let me first go and copy the current that is there. This one is supposed to be, actually, let me just also copy this the way it is here. So for the login, it is okay to have the forgot password, but on sign up, it is not really required. Okay. There is submit button, and this is going to be login. This is going to be logging in. Please wait. Okay. So for the other side of register, this one should just be a normal input. Just copy this and just going to replace with this one. So this one is going to be password. Password name is password. Type is password. Now you could also just go ahead and just go to the login. So now login should have it. It is still submitting. We still haven't put the on submit on the form. So for the form, just come here, exactly what is on this. Just copy and put on the form. Okay, so just come and remove this. Handle submit. Yeah, so now it should work. And you can also reduce this to 4. So now we can just go ahead and see this. Okay, email address is required and password is required. Great. Now we can also just go ahead and, of course, work on register first. Okay, just go ahead and work on the register form first. I think the 5 inputs are enough. Okay, I feel like instead of first name and last name, we could just get a full name and then we split it from the backend to get the first name and last name instead of saving it. I feel like there is yeah, I'm just going to turn this into a full name, guys. I feel like the inputs on the register are so many, but you could just go ahead and just use that. I'm just going to simply say full name, then your full name, and you can see how easy it is to change whatever you want. Very easy. And then I just remove this one field, and then I'm just going to simply change this full name in the register. So we just see instead of first name, just going to say full name. So there are now 4. I'm just going to go back to register. Make sure that the one you have used here is full name. Okay. So now let's go and see. Yeah, much more easier and I think is more simpler. Okay. Of course, you could just work on this header to either remove it or whatever you just want with it. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and work on the create account. So the front end is done. We can get the data from the form. Now what is remaining is actually submitting the data to the database. This is where you have to use this documentation. I will just leave the link You can find this is app docs and programming tutorials, Next.js, Next Auth. So the first thing you just have to install is Prisma. The file you're also going to be using Prisma. So just go ahead and install Prisma. So I'm just going to pull up my terminal just like this. And let's go ahead and install Prisma and Prisma client just like that. Okay, so next we are going to initialize the Prisma and also generate the Prisma schema using this command. And since we are going to use MongoDB, we init npx Prisma init data source provider MongoDB. Okay, so let me just copy that. So it is still installing Prisma. And I'm just going to take this opportunity to thank all those people who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And most people who are watching my content, others are not subscribed. I'm just going to wait a second. My data here is done, so I have to just a second. Simply buy another bundle. I'm just going to pause for a second. So it failed due to internet. Let me just go ahead and do it one more time. So still thanking those ones who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. So grateful and thankful. Yeah, we have moved really far now, and please watch the content and continue watching the content as you're learning, and more stuff are coming up. I'm just also going to be mixing in React Native and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, so cool stuff are coming. Let's continue subscribing and continue to support me. So now I've installed the Prisma and Prisma client. Let's go ahead and initialize Prisma. Let's go back to the docs I created, and this is like put everything in one place for you. Otherwise, this is would be jumping through so many documentations. So just go ahead and initialize Prisma just like this. And what it does, it is just creates your Prisma schema and the .env. So if you check now in our project, if you check on the sidebar here, it has created Prisma, and another thing, it has created .env. Okay, and you remember we had added .env in the git ignore. Make sure before you forget, make sure you have the .env in the git ignore before you push it actually to the GitHub. Okay, so now next is to add your database URL. Now, if you have been watching my videos, you know very well that you know how to get this database URL. Okay, just simply go and grab your database URL from MongoDB and put it there. I'm not going to show you that. If you haven't, you can just go and check in one of my videos, and it will be really easy. Okay, so add your database URL in the env. So what I'm just going to do, I have mine here. I'm just going to grab it, and then I'm just going to replace it with this one. Okay, I'm just going to remove all this. Okay, and the technique I just always use your username and the password, guys. I will just exchange this afterwards. You don't have to use my username or my database URL. Simply go and create yours. This I'm just doing it for study purposes. So just simply go and get your MongoDB database URL. And when you only have one that is working, simply keep on changing the database owner. You don't have to go every time to MongoDB. Where you are seeing this slash, it is where we put the database name. Okay? And some others have this one, which is just like this database, and the database is at the end, just like this. Simply change this to the new name and stick with all this first one and just only change here. It will just simply work. So you don't have to go every time, go to MongoDB, create a new one. Just simply have one and then keep on changing the database. Okay, so another one is to create the schema. Okay, so I'm just going to add this starting schema so that we can modify it. Okay, so go to your schema and add this one. Okay, so just look at the models we have here. So the models, we have the account model, and why we always add the account model is that in the future it is very easy for you. It's very easy for you to switch and add other providers like GitHub, Google, other social logins that you would want to add. If you already have this model account, it is going to be easy, and also the session. So I always add these ones even when we're not going to use them. It helps me when I'm going to add another social login like Google or GitHub. I already have this in place and it helps me. So the next is the user role. So we have to create the user roles right away. So you're going to have a normal user, the admin, and so you could just call them service providers or the doctors. So you could just say either doctor or you say service provider. You just maybe use doctor. I think this one just would be like, they might just like not necessarily just like doctor, it can be just something. So you could just say doctor. I don't know if you just like good to go, yes, doctor. Yes, use doctor. Anyways. So now just you create the enum here, and then we can just come here in the user and then provide this role here as by default is when you create a user, by default is going to be assigned a role of a user. Okay. Then we have the password. Okay. So let's just see what we have here. We have the name, which is going to be the full name. So you could just change it right now to full name. Actually, let's just say full. Yes, I leave it to name. Just leave it to name. Then email verified. Image, role, password, account, session is verified, and now token. This token is going to be the 6 token figure you're going to be sending upon registration. When a user registers, we are going to send them a password, like a check that the email they have provided is working. We are just going to be verifying that. Okay. So for instance, you could just put a check. If it is not verified in 24 hours, you delete that one from your account. So here, that's a simple model of the user. Now, we could just go ahead and we'll have more stuff. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and comment these out, and we only focus on the ones we need. We're not going to have the product. We still have other many models that we're going to create together in the future. I just put in this one as starting point so that, but right now the model that we need is only the user. Okay. Then we have to add the phone. Let me just come here and add phone, and this is going to be a string. Now you have to be consistent. Wherever you just put like this question mark, that means this is not required. Okay. And sometimes these are required. Um, Image not required. These ones which we are getting from the user right away the first time, you can just make them required. The one that will be updated later, you can just make them like that. Okay. So we have this is our user model. So the next thing is now to push this. So let's just go ahead and push this to git, not git npx prisma db push. So I'm just going to push this to MongoDB. Okay. Allow. Okay. So generated it and generated the Prisma client. Okay, great. So now next is after I've created that, next is create your Prisma client global instance. Okay, so you can create this anywhere you want. Since we have the libs somewhere, let's just see. So we have the lib. I'm just going to come here and put this in the db .ts, and then add that. Just go back to the db. So just we have this. We get Prisma client, and this is just like to avoid multiple instances on development, but in production it has no problem. Okay. So const was just get like you check if the Prisma instance already exists in the global, and if it is there, use it. If it doesn't, then you generate a new one. As simple as that. And you can see if it is not in production. This is the purpose for the development purposes. Okay, so next after that, we just like this is now where we just go ahead and install registration of users. So we just need to some of the things, two things we need when we register a user. We need to send them an email sending them the code that is going to help us authenticate this user. Is this a really user or just joking with our system? So we should just have a work whenever someone signs up, send them a code, they enter the code, and then we move on. Another one is bcrypt. So we need to install bcrypt for encrypting our passwords. So let's start with this. Let me install bcrypt and bcrypt types. If you don't install types, they will give you the errors all the time. So just install this. Okay, so next I'm just going to install React email. So you could just head to React email. This is just for sending, giving you templates for sending Explore components. You can just go to React emails. You can just go, they have templates, they have all nice things you can ever imagine. Okay. Bcrypt is still installing. So you could just go to React email and just move around the documentation. But I just created here. You can just continue just following this. So you have to install the types and resend. So resend is when it's going to send that template. React email simply gives you the email templates, and resend is the one responsible for sending the actual email. Okay. Seems like I'm still having issues with my internet. And so let me just restart. the internet for a second. I'm just going to pause. Okay, so I've put back my internet. I've just restarted the internet and now it is okay. So just go in and install the bcrypt and the bcrypt types. So let's just go ahead, and this is the documentation for the React email. You can just like move around, check the templates. They have examples. Go ahead and check on these examples. You can just get one you can use. There is like reset password and all these, so many you can just use. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow this, and let's install this, the Resend, and can just go ahead and install the Resend. Okay, so you're installing Resend and React email. Okay, so well, of course, we're using this. So we have already created the registration form. Okay, so now the registering, we're just going here in this case, the code I put here, you can just go ahead and use the API route. I'm just going to simply try actually also using the, I just want also to try using the, I want to use the server actions and I see how this is going to go. Are we using the UUID? Let me see if we're using anywhere the UUID somewhere. I don't think we're using it. Mm, we are not using it. Okay. Okay, so basically that's it. After you have installed that, we can just now go ahead and start using this whole thing. One more thing to do is to create the email template you're going to use. So this email template I put down here. So you could just copy it, and let's go and just see here in the components. Let me create a new folder. You could just say emails, and then let's put this, the email template dot tsx, and you can paste in this. Okay, so this one has also installed. I can just go here. So this is the email template that I copied from one of these templates. So if you just go back to React and Resend, they have these templates already created. You can just go and find the one you want, and I think I copied this one. If you check it, I copied this one. Okay, and then here on this is where you're going to display our token. Okay, yeah, so this is the one that I use it, and we are going to use that one in registering. So after you have done that, we have installed, and we have our email template. We have this working very well, so you can test out. So for instance, I just want to go ahead and to this. I'm just going to create another folder outside this. Okay, in the root, I'm just going to create another folder, call it actions. So new folder, actions. And the first one I'm just going to put is, for instance, users. Okay, so I'm just going to say users.ts. Okay, so on the top here, just going to put use server. As simple as that. So done. We just export function, export async function, and just say create, for instance, create user. And just like this, it's going to take in data. Okay. And since this data, we're just going to actually be taking in, this one is going to be having register is going to be accepting the register props somewhere. Register input props. Yeah. Okay. So you have now the data. We could just go ahead and say console.log data to show you that we are at the server side now. And how do we use this? Create user, it takes in the data. As simple as that. So I'm just going to go to this site in, can I close everything? And then I have only the register. So down here where we have this async, I'm just going to say try catch. Okay. Just so try catch, and I'm just going to come here and I say await. So you could just say user, could just say const user is equal to await. I could just say create user, create user, and we pass in the data, and just do like this, get it from actions. And for the error is just console.log error, just like this. Okay. So this is what we have. Await user. Now I would just like do this if I don't need a user. Okay. If I don't want it to get anything from this, but if we need a user, like the way I'm going to see, if we just need the user, we have to save this user like that. Okay, so let's just go and see. So I'm just going to open my terminal very well so that we see. So scroll up just here, and let's go and to our app. Let's also open this. Okay, so we have two consoles. I want you to notice. Okay, so the first one, let me just show you the first one before this. We have this console.log data, which is in this on submit function. We have another one which is in the action. Okay, so before doing this, let's first do this. We just only console.log data. So if I do this fake field create, so you see like on the front end, we have in the browser all our data. Okay, by the way, just need to refresh. Let's send one more time just to do this. Okay, so now we have full name and all this information. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this one off and then put this one on. So in the create user action here, we have also console.log data. So just go ahead and try it one more time, refresh, and let's add new data and create. So now you see here there is nothing, but we should have something on, on the terminal. Let's see. Yep. So you can see on the terminal we have full name, email, phone, and password, meaning we are at the server. Okay. This is coming from the server and we have all the details. So let's just say if I said return, so if I said return, data. So what happens in this, if I just try to console.log a user, okay? So let me just see, and I'm just going also to go to the server and stop this console.log. So let's refresh one more time, and let's go and fill this and create. So you can see this is now coming from line 22. Line 22, you can just go and check line 22 is this one, meaning that this is being returned from this server action. Okay, so great. So this is how the server action works. You simply create a folder. By the way, you could just even put directory here, but since this is a client component, server action must be at the server. So you create them. I've created a folder called actions. Inside the action, I've created the users, and inside it, I've created create user. It accepts this data, and let's say we're also going to look at how to handle errors in this video. We try to see how we're going to handle the error. Okay, so here we might just also just put in a try catch. Okay, for instance, we can just say try a try catch block so that we have everything here. And then if there is error, so for instance, I can also return, for instance, an error object. I want to see if there is an error for some reason. Okay, if I just say, for instance, return an object and I say error, I don't think there is error.message on this. We could just say, maybe just say something went wrong. Something went wrong. Okay, and we could also give the status. I don't know if it is just like we could just say return this if there is any error, console.log. We could just say console.log error. Okay, so you could just say return error. Now to create a problem here, I don't know what would be that. I don't know if we just say throw new error, something like something. Just use another one, something just like this. And of course, this return is not needed. So if you just do this and let's try to register the user, I don't know what happens. So you can see here we get an object now of the error, says something went wrong. So you can just like, we can also create our own error objects and then we send them to the UI for purposes of actually catching those errors. Okay, so great. Just going to see how we're just going to do that. Okay, so what we want is to start right away getting what we want. So the first thing is that we have all the data. So after having the data, I'm just going to copy this logic here for purposes of simplifying this. So the first thing is we don't need to register the user that has been registered. Okay, so we can first get this user. So you can just say existing user first. Okay, so we have the data. Okay, so you could just first find the existing user. So yes, get the Prisma client. Get Prisma client from, remember we have it from lib. Okay, you might just have forgotten that you created the Prisma instance in the lib EP here. This Prisma client is what I'm using this side here, and you can see it is getting it from libdb. Okay, where now this email, now we could just go ahead and abstract the data we have. Okay, we could just go ahead and abstract the data we have. This would be nice also. I don't know if I can just copy that object of what we get. This is what we receive. Okay, so just come on top here. I could just destructure this. So you could just say const, okay, and then get this is equal to data. I don't know. Not just like this. Just remove this. Email, the phone, and the password. Okay, so just get these 4 things out of the data. Now you can just use email direct the way it is here. I have here. So if there is existing user, that's what we are talking about. So you can't just return actually this. If there is existing user, return just direct an object. Okay, so you could just return an object that has this. I don't know if we really want, we could just like create a harmonized object that has data, message, and the status. So I'm just going to put the status inside also. This. Let's remove this. I'm just going to say return this object. So return just like this. Okay, data null, message user with this email already exists in the DB, status just like this. Okay, now we could throw new error, and this one we put in the catch block. um, hmm. We could be checking here this. We could just this one be saying error. Okay, just like this. We could be checking in whatever is being returned. How we are going to handle the errors. Okay, let's just first leave it like this, because we would want to get like really the custom errors. Okay, let me just try something. So if, for instance, we just do this and just say throw new error. So just say throw new error. User already exists. So what I don't know if I can just go ahead and capture this here. So if I say console.log error.message, can I get error.message here? This error property has an unknown. I don't know how to annotate this error, but for now, we're just going to try just some hacks. I'm just going to do something like this. Just return an object just like this. And I will just be checking on the front if the returned object has anything to do with error. If it has error and data is null and the error is there, then we display the error that has happened. Okay? Otherwise, we move on. So here, you're just going to find unique where this, if there is that, then we just capture. Then next, if there is no any problem, we go ahead and encrypt the password. So we just go ahead and encrypt the password and generate the token. So the token has to be generated, a 6-figure token has to be generated. So down here, I'm just going to go ahead and so get this bcrypt, import bcrypt. I don't know why it has no auto imports, but let's get here this import bcrypt from bcrypt. So just going to here import bcrypt from bcrypt. Okay, so now we generate a token, and you can see I'm just using a simple function with a minimum and a maximum. So floor mass this, and this is just to get me a 6-figure number that I can always send a client, and they will enter this as the token. After getting this token, I'm just going to save it as a token here. Okay. Now the role, you can see no value exists for this, either declare no one. We're just going to put this. So for the name, so what we could just do is name is the full name. Okay, email is email, password is hashed password. And then this, since we have already data, we can rename this. It's not a must, should be data. Could just say maybe could just say it from data, just like this. Or you could just name it submitted data, whichever you want. Okay, so that now this data, so data name, mail string role is not send type without this. Types name string, email this, password role, any, enable to that. Okay, so let's just add the role. So for the role, we need to and the role, so you could just also add the role. You just come here on this register. So this it could just come here. I'm just going to be passing this from this. So I'm just going to say role and just say this is going to be role string. So this one, when by default is going to be user, and this And we could just also define the type. Actually, we could just say type. And in fact, we could just say here, role is of type user role. We could just use the one from, I think we can just get user role from the client. Yeah. So you can just get this user role from Prisma. We already have it there. And if you hover here, it just says you should be user, admin, or doctor. And this is just helping us to not mess up. Okay. Just like that. So you can see here by default, I'm passing in a user, and we can just say this is not required because when we are calling the register form and we don't pass the role, by default should take the user. So after having that role, is very easy to add it now onto this data. So you can just see data. So just go ahead before we add it here. So I'm just going to say role is of user role, just like that. It's not a user role. Just remove this. Okay. So you can just go back here on the register and we can just see data dot role is equal role. As simple as that. So this role we are passing in here is going to be passed in down here. And now that means when we go to this create user, we have the role. So you can just also destructure here the role. So just like that. And now this one is going to be passed down here to this role. Okay. This is user. We have one error. Let's just see. So type this role enum.user role is not assigned with type without user create input. Just see what this is all about. Type name. Create unchecked create input. Property phone is missing. Okay. Property phone here is missing first of all. Okay, that is good. So phone, just like that. And you can see how TypeScript is really useful. So the role would have forgotten it. The phone number, sorry, would have forgotten it. Okay, so right now everything looks nice. Okay, so what I just want to see is if you can create this rule user, and I just want to return the created user. So return the new user created. We still have some other parts, but let's first take check this. I'm just also going to run the Prisma client, the Prisma Studio, sorry. So npx, I'm just going to check here the Prisma Studio, npx Prisma Studio. Okay, so we just have a user. We're just going to be checking this user. For now, it's going to be empty. So just go ahead and create a user. So for this, let me go back here. So when we start, I'm just going to say set loading to true. Okay, set loading to true. Await await create user. reset. So others are just going to be inside. If everything is okay, so just remove this. So you could just say if. So you could just like go here and I say if user okay. So here we could also just we could also just go ahead and whatever we are returning here, we could also return it in the same format we said here, which checks, for instance, so you could just return also an object, just that is uniform. So you could just return an object, we just say data, okay. You could just say data is new user, for instance, and error, we could just set this to null, sorry, null, and status is 200 or 201, okay, just like this. Now we could just check on this side if user, okay, if user and user dot, and you can see here it is giving us TypeScript is giving us, and user dot email is equal to null. We could just check that, or we could check the status, and dot status is equal to 200, since this is us who have created it. So if that is true, then we can just also go ahead and now do whatever we want. This would be success. One would toast and do a lot of things. So for now, I just say go and console, say console.log user created successfully. User created successfully. Okay, just like that. So just go and check if this is true. Okay, of course, else we could also we just going to check else console.log user dot error, as simple as that, if there are any errors, because if there is any errors, it is going to give us something else. For instance, in the user the site, you see this is how we have this. For instance, if there is existing user, we can have these instances where this is the problem. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Just one more thing. Okay, and you could also console.log. Console.log. Of course, we could reset and set loading also to false. And let's also console.log the data. No, user dot data. Okay, let's see. So go back to the form and let's go and fill in some dummy data. First, reload to make sure we have no problems. Go ahead and do fake field create, and let's wait. Okay, so something happened, and we have this new user, guys, and was created in the database. The password was hashed, the token was generated. You can see this, the role was assigned, the phone number, and everything is there. The token you can see 857298. Let's go and confirm in the Prisma. Okay, so just go and see if we can fetch this user. Okay, so you have this user here and everything, we have it. Okay, so now the next thing now is to send the email template and everything. And of course, we have to put also the toast. So let me just add React hot toast. Okay, let me just first install that one. Meanwhile, so just add one more. And just say npm install React hot toast, just like this. And let's just go ahead and get this React hot toast. So everything we need is here. Simply copy this toaster, okay, and let's go and add it to, I don't know if we have providers already. We just need to create one component for all providers. Okay, so I'm just in components, I'm just going to create a new component called providers the TS6, I guess, RFC providers, and in here I can just return, it takes in children, this children, and the children, we just say children, and this one takes in React node. So React is just a React node. As simple as that. And then inside here, just going to have children. So everything is going to be wrapping on this. So for this one, just simply put this toaster here. Supposed to have already. Did I install the right thing? Let me just see if I installed the right thing. React hot toast. This is what just I added. I don't know if it hasn't propagated yet. Let me just see what I added. npm react hot toast. Come on. Okay, just try to import it manually. Import, I think it is toast. Toast from React hot toast. I don't know. This is toaster. Toaster. Yeah. So you just go take these providers. If you have other providers, we'll be adding them there. So providers, we go to layout, and now here we're just going to go to this big layout. So inside here, we're just going to wrap these children with the providers. Providers, just like this. Great. So now we just should have the toast now working. Let me just go to the register, drop this down. So here on the register, after reset, everything is done. We could just go ahead and say toast dot success, and this toast should be gotten from React Code toast dot success, and let's pass in user created successfully, or you could just say account created successfully, whatever you just want. Okay, and then of course we could route to the login, but this time we're just going to route somewhere else because we want to verify the user. Okay, so just go and create another one. This time want to send an email, so let me just go get the template. So here, down here, you see we have the token from, so here we want to send this. Okay, just create just like that. So go down here. Okay, just in the users, we have encrypted, done everything. So here we are returning. So before the exact after getting the user, we can start using this. Okay, so the first thing, you can just also get resend coming in. So import resend from resend, I guess. Import resend from resend. Okay, we could just go ahead and look at how it is imported. Yeah, it is resend cap2. Resend this. Resend. Okay. From resend. Okay, that's the right one. Just like that. Then let's get the email template. Okay. Now we still have this. Cannot find resend. Did you mean resend? I think it's resend cap2. Is it? We can just say cross check here in the React email. Just scroll down to resend and send the email. You import resend and is await resend. Okay, so you have to create this resend. Okay, you have to pass in the, so somewhere on top we must create resend here on top somewhere. So you have to create this using the API key. So here you need to pass in your API key. So I'm just going to put in my API key. I'm just going to copy. Just go to simply go to envy, and I'm just going to simply add this one here. Okay. Then here I'm just going to go ahead and pass in the API key. So this is going to be next. We could just say process. This is process dot envy dot resend API key, just like this. And then now this one should now go. Okay, so you have now one. The email template is expecting what? What does the email template expect us to have? Name, token link, message. So what was the error? Name is duplicated. Type void is not assignable to type string or undefined. Scroll down. The expected type comes from property name, which is declared here on type this. We could just like name this one as, since we have the full name, we could just say, maybe we split it. We could split and add only one. Just see here, first name. Okay. So this first name, go to the email template. Just wherever there is this, just Control F, Control H, replace it with first name everywhere. Okay, so now I think we just need to make it required. So where are we going to get this? So you could just also go ahead and define it, create it from here. Okay, we just say const first name is equal to new user. So you could just get from the new user, whatever you want. New user dot full name. Why do they do this? Oh, the user actually has a name. Okay. So we could just say split. If you say dot, they can give us split, and then we can return the first one. Element has any because expression can be used index type. So just split using space, just like this. Yeah. So whatever just get will be the first name, because like this split will split from the space, and then we shall have two, and then this will be an array of two items. We first take the first one as the first name. So we send the email saying verify your email address, and now this one could just medical app. Now you have whatever just used here as this email should end with the email, the website you used to verify your API key. Okay. At this point, if you are a serious developer, I expect you to have that. Okay. At least to have an email that is, you have a Resend API key at this point. At least buy a domain for a client, or you buy your own domain and just go and get a Resend API key to be using in all your projects. Really, it is about $7. You can do that. Okay, so now what we want to do is to see the token, the send mail, and the new user. Of course, we still want to return the new user and want to see if it sent the email. So this time I'm just going to use my email address so that we see if everything is going to go as planned. Okay, so if you just say this subject, verify your email, if you just go to the email template and you see what is there is that we receive the first name token link and message. So you can see here the preview, there is the link text. Then here you say first name, thank you for joining us. Hey, first name, text message, and you see if you have any questions, and so you can see the token is here. Okay, the token is here in the button. Okay, so let's just go now, fingers crossed. Let's go and send another one, and this time just going to fill in my credentials just like this. What's that? I just say here, put a name, email address. I'm just going to say ABG. Phone number, let me just say 078 07620636160. Password, I'm just going to say test. Okay, so create. So fingers crossed, guys. It has to generate all those things, save the token, send the email, user created, and I have here, and I have my token. You can see it is 975201. So now I have to go and check my email. Okay, let's go and see. And you can see medical app, verify your email address. Great. And the code is here. So you can see the 975201 and is the same that was sent even in this side. So that's great. I'm so happy for that. Okay. So I see this episode is really getting out of hand. It is now 2 hours and 30 minutes. I think we just need to stop here. And then in the next video, I'm just going to start from there. We shall just now start asking a user to verify this, and then after that we sign them in. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I think you have learned a lot of concepts. See you in the next video.